What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live workout. We're here in sunny Tampa, Florida, and yes, we're outside. It's a little warm today, but we're still going to get a comprehensive lower body workout in. As you can see over there, I'm going to use a kettlebell for my resistance. Obviously, you can use a dumbbell or do body weight. I actually got a green band here too. I'm going to use a mini band. We're going to do 4 different lower body focused exercises. We are going to do split squats. We're going to do a lateral lunge, we're going to do a kettlebell swing, and we're going to do some band marches with the band on our feet. So, but before we get into that, we're going to do a little dynamic warm-up. Okay, so I'm going to start with one of my go-tos. I know if you've tuned in before, you've seen this one, but I like it because it's very comprehensive. We're going to do our plank walkout, a little toe touch walkout. Make sure I'm still in the frame. I'm a little back a little bit. Step your foot up, a little twisted lunge, inside, yeah, and walk my hands back to my feet, stand all the way up. I was hoping I was going to get some shade, but apparently this time of year at 9:30 Eastern time in sunny Florida, there's not going to be much shade, so I will. I'm just going to sweat it out. It's good for me. Already did my walk this morning, so I'm kind of a little loosened up, kind of warmed up a little bit already. So, but it's all dynamic warm-up drills are definitely beneficial. I always recommend this for any workout. One more. Right. Getting the body properly warmed up before exercise is critical for minimizing injuries and kind of enhancing performance. Alright, so now we're going to do a little forward lunge rotation. Using the kettlebell today, as I mentioned, but dumbbells work also. This kind of routine right here that we're going to show you, kind of one of my go-tos, especially in the morning. I'm at home. Alright, floor sweeps for a hamstring. So yeah, this is kind of a go-to series for me. Really feels it hits all kind of the key components of the lower body. Quads, inside, outside the thighs, and hamstring, lower back, glutes. Alright. And now I'm talking about the interval workout we're going to do. This is more stretching the hamstring, working my hinge back, which is good, especially because I'm going to need that for this workout. Alright, a couple cars. Alright, I'm going to do my neck car just because it always feels good. Now I'm not necessarily doing an upper body, but the neck car. Alright, we're going to do a little Cossack lunge. Nice wide stance. Okay, or Cossack squat, they also call it. Toes are at an angle for me. I'm going to drop, let the toe rotate. So drive side to side. Good stretch. My adductor and hamstring, but also kind of warming up this pattern because we are definitely doing up. We are going to do a lateral lunge during the warm-up. Alright, one more to the side. Alright. Butt kickers. Jumping jacks. Quad stretch. Fucking little bounce as I do this. One more. Alright, so we can always do little heel raises if you like. I know, talk about it, let's do it. And alright, warmed up. Of course the sun's out, but That little silver shade right here. Anywho, 4 exercises. We're gonna go 3 times through. Since I'm doing this with weight and I got more clients to train today, I don't want to be too much of a sweaty Betty. But we're gonna do our split squat. Let me demo the exercises. Okay. All right. We got a connection issue. Okay. All right. Hopefully our connection can be a little stronger. We'll see. TBD. Anyways, now split squat. Under the chin, legs flip back, dropping this. We do 5 each side. Okay. Then we're gonna do our lateral lunge where we step, drop the weight towards the foot. Okay. 5 each side. Then we're gonna do our kettlebell swing. All right. Hiking a football, stand up tall. I'll show you from a couple sides. Okay, we're gonna do 10 of those. Then we're gonna have this band here. And I'm gonna use the stick just for a little bit of help. Here, boom, and lift. Okay, some standing march. 5 and 5. All right, we'll get this started in here. All right, here we go, split squats. Alright, lateral lunge. Other side. I got a 35-pound kettlebell. Sometimes I'll do this a little heavier at home, but this is kind of a good weight. Get some resistance. Alright, kettlebell swing. So I'll show you from front view. First, I got the ball, hike it. Really hinging at the hips. Swing out of it. And on arches. Marches, I just have a stick, you can use the wall too. A little 10 total. Alright, 10, 5 each side. Alright, there we go. Alright, 1 down. So yeah, the kettlebell swing. Great movement, but definitely and not complicated, but you want to have proper form, obviously. I mean, all exercises form over reps. But especially, obviously, the primary mover, glutes, hamstring, lower back. You know, it's a lower back focus exercise, kettlebell swings. You definitely have to make sure you use proper form. A couple different variations, but the one we like to use, I'm going to do it without weight, is a lot of the hip hinging, right? But, and once you get here, the weight is going this way, right? So the weight is here between my legs, and I use my hips almost as a catapult to project the weight, or propel, excuse me, the weight back out front. But I'm aiming for about height, about sternum height. There's some people that go over the head, which, you know, it's a different exercise. And so, what we're doing, our kettlebell swing, is focusing on this. Here, here, right? And when I'm at this position, you can see I'm almost like a standing plank. Not here, right? So if I have my hands on the wall or hands on the floor, almost like I'd be in the push-up position. That's what you want to shoot for, right? And then a couple other kind of cues, physical or tactile cues and visual cues. I'm going to show you. I'm going to go into set number 2. Okay, back to split squats. Split squat, going to the other sets. So split squats, great for developing power, lower body power, or strength, I should say. Excuse me. You guys can kind of see my legs are more train tracks than straight line. Now it's very challenging. Obviously, if I went in a straight line, you can do that. Very challenging, right? And it has a little bit of tension on the outside of the knee. So we always like, especially if you're going to use high weights, I'm doing under here. A lot of times we'll do it with athletes by the side. Tell people you're on train tracks, not a balance beam when you do your position for your split squat. This variation of this lunge, this lateral lunge, really kind of bring my chest down and shoot my hips back. I'm going to show you, next round I'll show you from the side. But I think this variation almost would be considered almost like a deadlift, like a lateral deadlift. All right, so here we go. Show you the kettlebell swing. All right, proper hike. Stand tall. 3. Swing out of it. All right, back to the band. All right. All right. All right. But yeah, you can see, I'll show you next round. So we do our lateral lunge, a little bit more shooting those hips back instead of staying up and down, straight up and down, like a kind of, I guess, more traditional lateral lunge. So you get a little bit more glute recruitment on that variation. Ooh, a little winded. I forgot to start my workout timer, but I will. All right. Once again, kind of go back to the kettlebell swing. You know, you guys, we talked about this position at the end. Another thing that kind of helps, especially control the swinging of the kettlebell, is that you don't let your arms get too extended from your body, right? So what we talk about, kind of something to visualize or think about, almost like you have an envelope under your armpit. So you get to here, and you don't want to drop the envelope. So about here, almost T-Rex arm, right? Okay, because if we get here, sometimes when your arms, or when, especially when you extend your extremities from your center of mass, your core has to work harder, which is good, you want that, but sometimes it has a propensity to float, right? So if we keep it locked in, and I pretend like I got that envelope underneath my armpits, boom, hovers right there about sternum height, and then you can shove it, throw it back in between your legs. Okay? All right, let's go back to number 7 to 3. I might get 4 in. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling froggy. All right. All right. Of course, I shouldn't. Why did I commit? I committed to 4. Let me show you from the side how this feels. 1. Lunge. Take it from the side also. I'm bringing my head and chest down. So really feel it back in that glute, but also a lot of quad too. Especially driving back, stepping back. I think that's fine. Already committed to 4 sets, guys. If I miss a rep, I miss a rep. My apologies. Yeah. I think I was 5, but I'll do an extra just in case I missed it. All right. All right. March. Really work the hip flexors with this one right here. Strengthen them. All right, 3 down. I could have been done, but I'm not. I'm staying, excuse me, I'm staying for one more set. Another thing, back to kettlebell swing. Like I said, lots of kind of cues to remember on the kettlebell swing. Great exercise, but a lot of things you should, obviously, like I said, proper form, paramount, okay? The kettlebell, the height, ideally, and obviously it kind of depends how tall you are, you don't want to go let the kettlebell swing below the knees. In reality, they might, depending on the size of the kettlebell, depending on your height. But if you let it go too low, I know I'm being dramatic, sorry, but if you let it go too low, it usually forces more squatting, okay? And this movement is more hinging or deadlift, right? So the kettlebell swing at the bottom doesn't look like this, it looks like this, okay? More so than the technique you do in the day, okay? And there's always many ways. I will totally kind of admit to that there are different ways and different kettlebell swings for different folks, I guess. But this is the one we focus on because we think it's really a great builder for the posterior chain, strength of posterior chain. All right, last set. Said I was only doing 3 when we started. I'm doing 4 for y'all. Okay, here we go. All right, let's set of swings. Here we go. Alrighty, let's set of marches. All right, Denzo, Bunzo. Hope you guys enjoyed today's live workout. If you didn't tune in while we were live, it's going to be on our feed, obviously. If you're listening to this, you know it's on our feed. But if you didn't catch it on our feed, we're going to upload all these. All of these are uploaded to our YouTube channel, Tampa Strength YouTube channel, so you can see all the past live workouts. We got a good streak going. I think we're up to by getting close to 30 workouts for this year. So check that. Sorry. Let us know what you'd like in a future live workout. See you next week.